"You're not invited to the wedding," Mom texted coldly. "Lily's family doesn't want you there." I just smiled and replied, "So you picked status over blood?" Then I quietly canceled everything, including their venue deposit. They never saw what was coming next. That text hit me like a physical blow, a betrayal so cold, so calculated. It felt like my blood turned to ice. "You're not coming to the wedding. Lily's family doesn't want you there." Just like that. My own sister, my own family, cutting me out without a second thought, delivered in a cold, gray bubble. I read it twice. Then again. My thumb hovered, shaking, over the screen while my coffee cooled beside me. "So you chose status over blood?" I sent it. No emoji, no sarcasm, just raw, undeniable truth. Then, without blinking, I opened my laptop, logged into the wedding planner account, and canceled the venue deposit. It was under my name, paid with my card. They didn't even know that. And the best part? It was non-refundable. I shut the laptop, leaned back in my chair, and just stared at the wall. I didn't feel angry yet. Not even sad. Just still. Like something inside me had shifted, cracked, and was now watching from a different corner of my own soul. This wasn't new, not really. They'd done this before, just not so blatantly. Not in all caps. But I felt it in the side glances, in the snide jokes at dinner. The way they forgot my birthday 3 years in a row and actually blamed the group chat algorithm. Can you believe that? The way Lily became the daughter they always wanted, flawless and adored, while I was just Jack. Always useful, always quiet, always there. I was the one who helped choose the dress boutique. I negotiated the first catering deal. I found the Airbnb for the out-of-town guests. When Zach's parents said the Colorado Lodge was too rustic, I found a luxury version with lake views. I even designed the Save the Date website. They used my Canva account, still had the login, but now I was a liability. Why? Because Lily's father didn't like the energy I brought because I wore black to brunch. Because I asked where the $3,000 in catering money went and didn't just drop it when Mom said, "Just trust us." They always needed me, until they didn't. And now, they were planning their picture-perfect family tableau without me. Curated smiles, filtered joy. No Jack. Just the ones who matter. I took a deep breath. Opened our shared folder, Lily and Zach wedding planning. Clicked through the photos, the contracts, the vendor schedules. Then I deleted every single file I uploaded. All 63 of them. The folder? Renamed. Good luck without me. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't warn them. Let them find out the morning they try to confirm the florist. Let them scramble when the photographer doesn't show. Let them wonder what the hell happened when the venue emails. Unfortunately, this reservation has been canceled by the account holder. They thought I'd stay silent. Smile. Swallow it like always. But this wasn't about a wedding. This was the final crack in something that had been rotting for years. This was them handing me the scissors and expecting me not to cut the string. They wanted me gone. Wish granted. They just didn't know I'd take everything with me when I left. And I was just getting started. If you ask them, I was always the dramatic one. The one who overreacted, who read into things too much. But let me walk you through how I became that guy. Let's rewind to 6 months ago. It was a Friday night. Lily called me in tears. Zach had gotten laid off. The apartment they rented downtown was 3 months behind on rent. They'd tried to negotiate, but the landlord was an absolute shark. He wanted the money, all of it, or he'd file eviction papers on Monday morning. I didn't even hesitate. I transferred $3,800 from my savings and told her to call me if she needed anything else. That was the third time that year I'd bailed them out. The first was when Dad accidentally overwithdrew from his retirement fund and needed $5,000 to avoid penalties. The second, when Mom forgot that Lily's bachelorette Airbnb was on my credit card and let the girls trash the place. I kept spreadsheets. I kept screenshots. Not because I planned to use them, but because I needed to prove to myself that I wasn't crazy. That I wasn't imagining the slow bleed of money, time, and energy into a family that acted like I was their silent donor. But it wasn't just the money. It was the way I was treated after I helped. Like a servant, a backstage hand. Dad once joked, while I was fixing his gutters in the middle of a thunderstorm, that I should get a job as a house husband since I clearly wasn't man enough to be the breadwinner. Everyone laughed. Even Lily. Mom told me I was too sensitive when I brought it up later. Said he was just old school. Old school? That man once locked me out of the house because I came home wearing eyeliner in high school. But yeah, maybe I was too sensitive. When Lily got engaged, she told me over FaceTime, with mom and dad literally sitting behind her on the couch, cheering. They'd helped her plan the proposal with Zach. Even went ring shopping with him. Me? I found out through a screen. I should have seen the pattern, but part of me still thought, if I help enough, maybe they'll finally treat me like I matter. I paid for the engagement shoot. $600. Built the wedding website. Created custom invitations. Paid a deposit for the venue because mom's card was acting weird. I was building their dream, brick by painful brick, while they fed me leftovers and called me a good sport. And then the text started. At first, it was from Aunt Megan. Hey, I heard you're not invited to the ceremony. Is that true? Then, Uncle Jeff, did you say something to Zach's dad? Just curious. And finally, the Facebook post that absolutely shattered me. A photo of Lily and Zach with my parents, standing in front of a rustic barn lit by fairy lights. The caption, so proud of our family. Can't wait for the big day with all the right people by our side. The right people? I wasn't even tagged. I clicked through the comments. One of Lily's friends wrote, is Jack going to be there? He was always so funny. Lily replied, we're keeping things small. Just people we trust. Just people we trust. That night, I didn't sleep. I went back through every receipt, every email, every time they called me selfish for asking to be paid back. And I realized something sickening. I was the only one in this family who gave without expecting anything. And I was the only one given anything in return. Absolutely nothing. A week later, I got a group text. Hi, family. Can everyone pitch in for Lily's bridal shower decorations? Jack, since you're so good with websites, can you make a landing page for RSVPs? Hugs and kisses. I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, Lily messaged me directly. Can you just do this one thing without being passive-aggressive? So, I did something else instead. I logged into the wedding venue account and requested a refund of the $2,500 deposit. It was non-refundable, technically, but I had bought wedding insurance on the booking, just in case. A tiny checkbox no one else noticed. They refunded 90% after I filed a family conflict claim. Then I went into Canva and deleted every design I'd ever made. RSVPs, table assignments, welcome signs, gone. I created one new file and titled it, Asked Zach's Dad to Fix This. And I shared it with the whole family. That's when it hit the fan. 3 hours later, Mom called, hysterical. What are you doing? Do you know how this looks? I said I do. That's why I'm doing it. Then Dad called. He skipped straight to yelling. You've always been jealous of Lily. That's what this is. You couldn't stand her having a better life than you. I held the phone away from my ear and hung up. That night, my phone blew up. Lily posted a vague Instagram story. Betrayal always comes from those closest to you. Then Mom posted a photo of Lily crying with the caption, Nothing hurts more than your own brother trying to ruin your special day. People started messaging me. Friends, cousins. Some sent, Are you okay? Texts. Most didn't ask. They just said, Why would you ruin her wedding? I didn't reply to any of them. Then I got the package. A yellow envelope with no return address. Inside, a printed screenshot. An internal message thread from Lily's group chat with her bridesmaids. She was laughing. We'll get Jack to pay for the cake, too. Just guilt him about being the only brother. Works every time. Another message. Zach doesn't even like him. He said Jack gives him the creeps. LOL. One more. He won't be at the wedding. I'll make sure of it. Watch. There was a sticky note on top, in handwriting I didn't recognize. You deserve better. K. I didn't know who K was, but I would find out. And when I did, everything changed. Because K had more than screenshots. K had audio. And the second I heard it, I knew exactly what I was going to do at Lily's rehearsal dinner. The rehearsal dinner was held at a pretentious vineyard 30 minutes outside the city. They called it rustic luxury. I called it a marketing scam with overpriced wine and fairy lights stapled to trees. But I showed up, dressed clean, calm, focused, because I didn't come to eat. I came to bury the circus. I walked in right as they were toasting. Lily was mid-laugh. Zach had his arm around her. Dad looked uncomfortable. Mom avoided my eyes. They didn't expect me to come. That much was obvious. I was supposed to be the villain in their script, the bitter brother who ruined everything and couldn't let go. But I wasn't bitter. I was done. I walked straight to the front of the room. Sorry to interrupt, I said, tapping a glass. Conversations froze. Someone chuckled awkwardly. Lily frowned. I pulled a small speaker from my jacket and placed it on the table. Then I held up a flash drive. Zach stood up. What are you doing? I looked at him. Giving you exactly what you deserve. I clicked play. Speaker volume, I level. A girl's voice. Lily laughing. We'll get Jack to pay for the cake, too. Just guilt him about being the only brother. Works every time. The silence in the room snapped. Mouths opened. Someone gasped. A fork clattered. I didn't flinch. Another voice. Another message. Zach doesn't even like him. He said Jack gives him the creeps. LOL. Zach turned white. Lily lunged for the speaker. I stepped in front of it. Sit down. It wasn't a request. Then came the final clip. Lily again, low and smug. He won't be at the wedding. I'll make sure of it. Watch. I hit pause. Looked around the room. Any questions? Zach opened his mouth, then shut it again. My father stood up, furious. You think this is appropriate? You think this, sit down, I snapped. And for the first time in my life, he did. I turned to Lily. I spent over $11,000 on this wedding. I designed your website, negotiated your venue, and paid your florist. I did it because I thought, stupidly, that this was family. Lily was shaking, her mascara running down one cheek. You don't understand. No, I said. You don't. You never did. You didn't want a brother. You wanted a wallet. Then I pulled out the folder. Hard copies. Screenshots. All the text from her, mom, and dad. The PayPal receipts, the invoices I paid, the ones I saved when they forgot. The group chat where Lily called me the family's free wedding planner. I passed them to Zach. You still want to marry her? I asked. He stared at the pages. No answer. Then someone stood up from the back. A woman in a gray coat. She had a badge around her neck and a phone in her hand. Hi everyone. Sorry to intrude, she said. I'm Kristen. Jack and I used to work together. I also run a digital forensic agency. Jack asked me to verify some files. She looked at Lily. And to confirm they weren't deep fakes. She held up her phone. This audio? It's 100% authentic. No edits, no splices. Pulled from a WhatsApp backup linked to your old number. Don't worry, I have the metadata, too. Lily's mouth dropped open. Mom gasped. Is this a joke? Dad barked. Kristen smiled. Not even a little. Then came the twist that sealed it. Zach turned to Lily. You told me Jack said those things to you. That he threatened you. That he was unstable. He held up the printouts. You lied. She reached for his arm. No, Zach, don't touch me. Then the room erupted. My aunt stood up and started yelling. Someone knocked over a glass. My mother tried to say something, but choked. And through it all, I just stood there. Quiet. Calm. Watching it burn. When the chaos hit its peak, I raised my voice one last time. I'm not coming to the wedding. You already made that decision. But now you can do it without my money, my help, or my silence. I turned to my parents. You cut me out the moment you realized I wouldn't play the puppet anymore. So I'm cutting the strings, too. And then, just as I turned to leave, Zach spoke. I'm calling it off, he said. Loud. Clear. Lily screamed. A shrill, sharp noise that cut through the air like glass. You can't do this here. Oh, I said. He just did. Then I walked out. No dramatic music, no slow motion, just the sound of everything they built collapsing behind me. I didn't drive home after the rehearsal dinner. I didn't even get on the highway. Instead, I took a side road north, quiet, somewhere with no signal. A month earlier, I'd signed a lease on a tiny cottage in a forgotten part of the state. Population 600, a single diner, one gas station. No one cared who I was there. That's exactly why I chose it. I paid 6 months up front. No forwarding address. No digital breadcrumbs. Just quiet. The first 3 days, I didn't turn on my phone. Didn't check emails. Didn't speak to a soul. I sat on the porch with a thermos of black coffee and listened to birds fight over territory they'd never actually own. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free. No more tension in my neck. No more guilt. No one asking me for money. No one pretending they loved me just long enough to get a transfer. On day 4, I went into town and signed up for something I'd been too ashamed to chase before, an archival preservation course at the local college. History, dusty newspapers, forgotten letters. Finally, I was surrounded by things that kept records honestly. There was no performance here. No manipulation. No you owe us. I volunteered at the county museum. Helped catalog photographs from the 1950s. Fixed an old microfilm machine. And for once, I didn't care that no one noticed. Because it was mine. Quietly mine. The messages started showing up about a week later. My old Gmail inbox, linked to my emergency phone. I didn't read the first few, but the subject line said enough. Can we just talk? You went too far. We're still family. Then came the blocked calls. Dozens. I left the phone off. They weren't trying to make peace. They were trying to reset the game. What scared them wasn't the evidence. It was the silence. They couldn't handle not knowing what I'd do next, because for the first time ever, they weren't in control. 3 weeks later, a court notice was sent to my old apartment. Apparently, my father had tried to sell a portion of family property. What he didn't realize was that I'd locked the deed 2 years ago after he accidentally tried to remortgage it without my consent. I'd left it sitting in legal limbo, waiting. He triggered the clause himself. Result: his deal collapsed. His buyer walked, and he was hit with a fraud investigation. Not because I made it happen, because I didn't stop it. I didn't publish a blog, didn't post a dramatic expose, didn't send screenshots to the group chat. I just vanished. No birthday calls. No financial rescue. No, maybe next time. And that was what truly destroyed them. Because narcissists don't fear consequences. They fear irrelevance. They fear a stage with no audience. One morning, I walked to the post office. Not for letters, just a small package I'd ordered. Behind me in line, someone was talking on the phone. Said something like, I heard Lily's fiancé walked out before the wedding even happened. Then apparently her brother disappeared, took all his money with him. I didn't turn around. I never made a statement, never clarified anything. I simply became unreachable. No address, no number, no access. They thought silence meant weakness. They didn't realize it was a choice. A quiet, surgical form of goodbye. Not with words, but with absence. The kind of absence that can't be manipulated. The kind that forces people to sit with the weight of what they did. They can't guilt me anymore. They can't call when the rent is late or the credit card is maxed. They can't pretend we're fine when they need another favor. Because there is no we anymore. There's just them. And a mailbox that says, no message received. You know what's funny? When you finally walk away from the people who built their lives on top of you, they don't fall immediately. They just stand there, stunned, like someone turned off the sound, and they can't find the volume button. That's what happened. After everything burned, after the rehearsal, after the calls, after the silence, they still believed, deep down, that I'd come back. Because I always did. But this time I didn't. I changed my number. Not just a SIM swap. New carrier, new country code. No forwarding, no auto-reply, just nothing. I closed the joint account Dad had linked to me for emergencies. Redirected my bank statements to a private digital vault. Updated my medical POA, removed all family names. I even changed the emergency contact on my driver's license from Mom to nobody. They don't know where I live. They don't know where I work. They don't know if I'm in the state, the country, or even above ground. And that kills them. A month ago, I went back, just once. Not to the house, not to the vineyard. I drove by the wedding venue, the one I canceled. It was empty. Abandoned. A for lease sign hung crooked on the front gate. A wilted bouquet lay crushed in the gravel. It felt right. I rolled down the window. The breeze smelled like rain and regret. Before I left, I did one thing. I walked to the mailbox beside the main entrance, slipped in a small envelope. No return address. Inside, a printout of the last invoice I paid for the wedding, and a post-it note stuck on top. It read, "Thanks for nothing. I've stopped checking the old email. But every now and then, I log in just to watch the flood." One unread message was titled, "Please just talk to us." I didn't open it. Another, "We don't know who you are anymore." That one made me smile. Because finally, they're right. I'm not the person who covered their bills at 3 a.m. I'm not the emergency contact. I'm not the wedding planner, the free therapist, the invisible sibling, or the guilt-ridden son. I'm just a guy with a different life now. One that they can't reach, can't taint, can't rewrite. I got a new mailbox last week. Metal, clean, lockable. One of those secure Dropbox that doesn't let anything back out once it's in. The technician asked me what name I wanted engraved on the plate. I said, no name, just a message. So now, on a little brass rectangle just below the keyhole, it says, "This box does not accept apologies." And the silence I hear every day now, it's the sweetest sound I've ever known.